So it's Black Friday. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving yesterday. I ran out of gas, shielding gas on the welding machine last night, and that explains why some of my welds look so terrible. Some of them were my fault, some was because of the gas. But because I don't have any shielding gas, I can't continue on the oil pan. So I'm going to start on the motor mounts. I figure if I get to the point where I'm tacking them up together, I can tack without the shielding gas. I don't care how that looks. Because when the time comes to actually put these mounts together properly, I'm going to be stick welding it anyways. So I'm just going to use that to tack it together. I don't care how ugly the tacks are, it just has to hold it together. Then I can put in some 60-10 and then top it off some 70-18. Nothing's going to tear that apart. They'll be solid motor mounts. I don't care how much torque this thing makes, it's not tearing this apart. Some of you remember, this is what I'm calling my mock block. A junk motor blew up, mud daubers got into it, and built a nest inside one of the oiling passages. Not sure which one, where at, whatever. They showed me, but that was a year ago, and I wasn't paying all that much attention, to be honest. But regardless, it is now a junk engine. So instead of taking my nice pretty engine and going in and out, in and out, in and out, I have this engine that's empty, so it's going to weigh a little bit less. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. But I got this engine that I can take in and out and not care about. I'll have the junk block, the other heads that are not L67 heads, which the only difference, interestingly enough, the only difference with the L67 versus non-L67 heads is the injectors. The L67 heads have injectors right here, here, and here. You can even see right here, that little scallop, that is where the injector would be. Right there, there, and there. I believe that's the only difference. Maybe there's some different springs, spring rates, I don't know. But the actual head casting itself, that's the only difference that I'm aware of. So not only are the heads different, the valve covers are different also. And it is the exact same thing. Right here, here, and here, there's little dents, indentations for injectors on the other engine, on the L67. They might be worth something. I might sell them. I don't know. I don't think I know anybody that would want them. Let me know if you know anybody. So anyways, like I was saying, this oil pan on the mock block, flip it over, put two heads on it, just one or two bolts each, just something to keep it from falling off. Put the transmission on the back of it, no flywheel, no clutch, just stab the transmission on there, and I'll go in and out with that sucker while that thing's sitting there not getting beat up. Then once I get it in there, when I'm ready to locate it, I'll go ahead and grab that intake and supercharger and set them on this engine. They're not bolted down yet. There's no gaskets on that engine, so I can just set that intake and supercharger on top of this gutted motor and the engine compartment. Make sure I like where it's sitting, and then start burning things in, start marking things, start notching if I need to, whatever. And then also, as I'm in there welding and cutting and anything else, I don't have to worry about getting dirt inside of this engine because I don't care about this engine. This block is worth its weight in scrap, and that's where it's going to happen to it once this thing gets driven out of the garage. This and half of that other stuff in that pile back there is going to get scrapped. I might try to sell some of it. I think it's all getting scrapped. There's not much there of any value. That's my goal this evening. I'm going to start making motor mounts. And like I said, they're going to be solid motor mounts, so it's going to be pretty easy. The L67, the supercharged 3800, in US sales only came in front wheel drive cars. You go to Australia, down under, and they call it the Super 6. And it did come in some of the rear-wheel drive cars, some of the, I think it was the Holdens. That means this engine is a rear-wheel drive engine. That means that engine is a rear-wheel drive engine. This is actually a Camaro engine, Firebird. That one is the actual L67 out of a Bonneville, but it's the exact same block. That's the key. That engine has the bosses right here for the motor mounts. These bolt onto the side of the engine. Boom, just like that. And then another one, which I don't know where it is, that doesn't matter right now. Another one goes right over here, obviously. There to there, that's a lot wider than a Chevette. The frame rails on the Chevette, not nearly that wide. So this is of no value. However, I can use this as a template to make the piece that's going to bolt up to the engine, right here. I can trace this out, boom, boom, over here, and then I can mark where the holes are going to go. Drill the holes, bolt it onto the side of the engine, and go from there. After that, put this on here, and then cut this out to however I want it to fit down onto this frame rail. Just bolts on, just like that. And ignore the pool. Right there. 1, 2, 3. Exact same on the L67. Here's those injector holes I was talking about. Excuse me. Here, here, and here. And that's where it's cut out. It's kind of a little bit of a scalloped cut. Interestingly enough, these are plastic. The other ones on that engine are made out of metal. I don't know what kind of metal. Haven't even tried putting a magnet on them, but they are metal. Metal. I'm gonna have to cut these out. That's where the old 1.6 and the 1.4 would land. That threaded hole right there. That's where the rubber biscuits bolted in. Same thing over here. So cut those out right down here. It's probably welded down here also, but definitely down there. You can see that. So cut these out and then cut up the yellow piece to fit on the side of the block. And then it's time to start dangling shit in place and seeing what happens. See where it lands. It's a little hard to see because of the colors, but all I gotta do is cut this down there. Hole, hole, hole. And if I want to trim these to make it look finished and neat, I've got that option. It's that easy. And as far as what size holes are these going to be, well, you saw the bolts in the other engine. All I got to do is pull one of those bolts out, find out what size it is, drill these 1/16 bigger. Just enough room where I can get in there and get all three of them on there easily. And it's golden. You don't want to start off with a large bit. You can see this took a 19 millimeter wrench. So that's going to be, that's going to take a 1/2 inch drill bit. That'll give me a little bit of extra slop, a little bit of wiggle room. That's how I like it. You don't just start off with that size drill bit. Whatever your final size is, that's not what you start off with. Start off with something closer to 1/8 of an inch. That's going to be your pilot hole. Then you take, so I start all the way down here, grab one of these, grab one of these, one of those, maybe this one, and then go hog wild. Before you do any of that, you need to hit it with a center punch and mark your holes. This keeps your drill bit from walking. You get on there and you start drilling and it starts doing this number and you can't find where you're supposed to start. But if you put a dent in it, right dead center, then your drill bit knows exactly where it's supposed to stay. I blame 2020. Hey, all right, found it. I've got them all marked, center punched. Time to start drilling. One other thing before you start drilling also, you don't want to drill dry. A little bit of lube. PB Blaster, you can use that WD-40 garbage. You can use gear oil, Dextron, whatever. Just put some oil on there to where you're not burning this thing up. Three weeks later, have not been able to get back out here. The motor mounts that I was making, I cut out both sides, I drilled the holes, and bolted them to the engine. Bolted the transmission to the engine, bolted the heads to the engine like I said I was going to, and then I stabbed them in the car. And that's where we sit now. So there's the plate. You can see it down there. I'm gonna have to cut this off like I'd said I thought I was gonna have to, because it actually goes all the way back here behind the knock sensor. This is the passenger side. So it goes back to about here. So I have to cut all this off, just like I'd said before. And I'm not sure exactly what style I'm gonna go with. I have a few in mind. And here we go, now we're on the driver's side. Again, you can see the yellow plate. This side only goes up to the knock sensor. There you go, you can see it now. This side only goes up to the knock sensor. So we look directly across from it. And I'm still gonna have to cut this out. The old motor mount tower, which I would, if I cut one out, I'd do the other anyway, just so it looks the same. Now I'm gonna have to reroute these brake lines and fuel lines, plural. So I got two fuel lines here and I got a brake line that goes to the rear end. But I do have it sitting down in here again. Unfortunately, work calls again. They got me back working 10-hour days, driving 50 miles each way, and working Saturday and Sundays. Lots of excitement. Don't know how long it's gonna last. I might be back out here in about 20 days, and I might continue working out there for quite a while. I don't know. We'll see what they have in store for me, see what they have planned, and see how quickly I can get back out here. I know I've got some more pieces to purchase. I've got a little bit of money saved up right now, so I don't know what I'm gonna order next. I do know I need a radiator and a fan. That's gonna be kind of important just to get it fired up. Then there's the drive shaft that I need. And of course I would need to have it cut down. All kinds of stuff. Hell, I need to put tires on those 16-inch rims. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably just buy hubcaps or something. On that note, does anybody want to buy some 13-inch moon discs? I'll make you a real good deal.